This is going to be a quick introduction to programming using the Python programming language. I'm going to go through many of the key concepts in programming. First of all, what is a program? Well, a program is simply a computer program is simply a set of instructions to tell the computer to do something, usually to handle some kind of input from a user, but it may be from sensors, but handle some kind of input, process in some kind of way, and give some kind of output or control some kind of system. It may be a fan or a motor or lights, or it may be information to a screen or a printer. So we start where the concepts we'll cover will be input, getting information from the user, output, sending information to the user, at this point just to the screen, assignment, we'll take in the information and we'll store it somewhere temporarily, and we'll give it a name so that we can refer to it, such as someone's name or someone's age. We'll ask them to type it in, and we need to keep that somewhere temporarily. Sequence, which simply means doing one thing after another, so the program will follow a flow, a sequence. Selection, when we look at some input and we evaluate it and we say if the selection is equal to one thing or greater than something, then do something, otherwise do something else. Repetition, also referred to as iteration, where we keep doing something over and over again until a value is true or false, a particular value is true or false. And then we have something called functions, also known as procedures and subroutines. There are differences between those. Could all largely be described as a set of instructions with a name, so that you can use them over and over again. And last, we'll have something called lists, aka arrays, which is some data with indexes, more than one piece of data with an index. This will be very confusing right now, but this just gives you the main ideas of what we're covering, and it will take some time to get used to it. But programming is easy, but it will, like most things, it will take some time to become familiar with it. This is a type of a language, and it takes time to become familiar with the language. So first of all, Python. Go to python.org and you can download Python for Windows, Mac and Linux operating systems. This is the Python shell, and I can start programming straight away. So I'm going to start with input, or I'll start with output. I'll print a message to the screen. Now watch this. Uppercase P, R-I-N-T, hello. And let's see if we get an error or if this works. We get an error. This is because it takes lowercase. And now it's going to work. But this is the frustrating thing for many people when they first program, but it gets easier, and that's why I always suggest having a quick reference guide while you're coding to look at examples of code. You can put some examples of code you've already run for the main things in a document and use that while coding, because if I have an uppercase P here rather than a lowercase, it doesn't work. There are some hints in the programming language. For instance, this is black rather than red, but these little errors will give you a message, and eventually it will take time, but you get used to the messages and you will get them, but it gets quick. But at first it gets frustrating. But in programming, don't expect things to work straight away. You will get used to iterative testing. That means trying to make a small change, test it, then make another small change and test it, and eventually it becomes easy. If you write lots of code and don't test it as you're going along, then you might have many errors and it'll be difficult to debug. So it's best to write a little bit of code, test it, then write some more, test it, and write some more. So now we're being able to send information to the screen. Hello. It's not an awful lot, but it's something. Now I'm going to explain input and assignment at the same time. So I'm going to start with assignment. I'm going to create something called name. Now let's type in name and see what happens. Well, nothing, because name is not defined. However, if I take name and imagine it as a box, a place to hold some data temporarily, and I've given that box a name, and this name is name. And I'm going to assign the value raw underscore input, enter your name. Now I'm sending a message to the user. Then I get the message, enter your name. I'm going to type in Joe. And what happened? Well, now when I type in name, it has the value Joe. So a couple of things to look at here. First of all, raw input is with Python 2.7 for strings. That means a string is an array or a list of characters, like a sentence. In Python 3, you just use input, apparently. Now, this is a function, and the function takes a string, so this is a message, and it writes it to the screen, and then whatever the user then types in after the message is written to the screen, this function returns it. And I like to think of it with the function, it returns it, and it comes out the left hand side, goes right through the assignment operator, which is an equals, and it goes into this box called name. And now when I type in name, we can see the contents of the box. Let's create another one. We'll call it age this time, and we'll say age is assigned the value, enter your age. Now this is an integer and a whole number with no decimal places. Therefore, I don't have to use raw input. I just use input. So I assign that, and now when I enter the data, and now we'll put the data in this line. We created the box, we sent the message to the screen, and now in this line the message was to the screen, and now I've put the value into this box. So the value 12 is in this box. So if I type in age, I have the value 12. Now let's have age 2. Or an age for person 2. Age 2 equals input, enter your age. And now age 2, and this person is going to be 10. So if I type age 2, the person is 10. So what I can do is I can now say age 2, I could say print bracket age plus age 2, and I get 22. I can also say age 2 equals, or is assigned the value, you should say, of age. Now the value of age is 12, and the value of age 2 is 10. So if I assign the value of age to age 2, then I'll be taking 12, and I will be overwriting age 10. So let's enter this. So I've assigned this value to age 2. So now the box age 2, rather than saying 10, should say 12. Well, let's find out if that's correct. And it says 12 because I've taken the value from age 1 and I've overwritten the value in age 2 with this assignment. So I've taken this data and it's shot out the left hand side of this box and into the door of that box. And let's just check the age is still 12. Of course it's 12 because age is unaffected because I assigned it that way. I could take age and assign the value 15 to it, and now age no longer contains the value of 12. Age now contains the value of 15, and that is assignment. And I'll go on to sequence and selection next. Thank you.